So just for a prefix, it's me, Dave, also known as Fanny Pack Dave, and Dave Reid. We've been here for quite some time, and much like I always do, ADD takes over, and just the funness of sitting here and in front of Dave. But now we're going into Dave's story. Again, you don't know anything about Dave. You have no clue who Dave is, unfortunately, and that's my fault right now for not bringing you in earlier. But
you know what? I really feel like I should speak up a little bit on what you're about to see. So you're about to see me talking to Dave Reid. There you go. All right, enjoy.
Dave's an icon in the world, truly. I imagine I'm gonna put that out there. We're in 96 straight. We're in 96. We just had an amazing analogy about a rat getting its pellets and not sure.
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah,
I can repeat something.
No, but honestly, what you guys are really about to witness here is something really special to me. Dave coached me in bodybuilding in 2014. I've just lived since then with no path, no true path, right? We all have a path. We all have this, we all have that, but what do we truly have if we don't really know what we're doing, right? Like, the cool thing about life is you get to live no matter what, as long as you choose to live. But we all live and do differently. That's what's crazy. And linking back up with Dave is a really exciting chapter of my life, and I'm really pumped to see it. And what you're about to see and hear, I'm not gonna lie, the editing, sorry camera, I don't know, it was doing some weird pan thing. You're just gonna have to deal with it. It was like impossible to edit, and my editing skills aren't that great. They're not that great. But you know who is great? Dave Reid. And I. No, I'm working on it. No, but truly, he's a world of knowledge. This night's going to get fun and interesting. This is going to be broken up into a two-part series. It's going to be a lot more than a two-part series, but this video specifically is going to be broken up into a two-part series. The reason we did so is around 56 minutes prior to me talking now, and I talk a lot, so now it's going to be probably like an hour or so. And we kind of switched gears, right? We get into, in this video that you're currently watching, we get into a lot about the mind and body connection, right? Just like connecting your body with your mind and really feeling and fueling the muscles through power of view, right? But then towards the end, we get into a religious aspect of linking not only your heart and your mind and or your body into it, but like we just link a lot. You'll see. I'm an out there kind of guy, and Dave's. We're all gonna find out what Dave is. Like, I feel as if I knew Dave, but I knew nothing. I just knew he knows a lot of shit about working out. We're gonna find that he knows a lot of shit about a lot of shit, and he's got big things going on. So this was pretty exciting for me to jump in and be part of this. I don't really know if he expected what he was getting into, but now he's stuck, and now we're doing a whole journey. If you hit that subscribe or follow button, you can watch the journey and follow through with us. It's Fanny Pack Dave. We're linking. You'll see. Just come back and enjoy this. Enjoy Dave. Enjoy what he has to offer. And find your grind, right? Find your grind. Big things coming out of Dave Reid. Big things coming out of Fanny Pack Dave, too. Big things coming out of this world. All right, go enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
96.
yeah, 96 was wild because I was like 29 going on 30, and I just remember I'm taking on I'm gonna become a trainer, right? I mean, this just seemed like insane to me because nobody was making money personal training back then, and we're talking darn near 30 years ago, right? And so
Yeah.
there was one guy in this city, Peter Nielsen, in the Metro Detroit area. He was on the news, Peter's Principles. But my mom, I
Oh,
don't
he had
know.
like a news, like how they do a segment on the
Yeah,
news.
and he was always on I don't know, 4 or 7. But anyways, I mean, Peter Nielsen was pretty well known. He had a studio around Orchard Lake in 18, and everybody kind of Peter Nielsen, personal training, But in the gyms, I knew a guy, Dan Martin, and a couple other guys that were trainers, and I'd watch them do stuff, and I was competing and not even just. I did my first show in 87. I took a long hiatus, and then 96 I started competing again. And so I was getting more into I'd always worked out, but it was okay, now I'm going to get more serious about it. So I'm going to do, I'm going to do training. So I ended up getting a job at Powerhouse in Madison Heights, and I ran that thing from 6 to 2, and then I would work out, shower, and go to work. And I used to bounce at a bar 5-6 nights a week, and so I'd work from 5 or 6 to 2. And then we'd get out 2:30, get home 3:15, go to bed, get up at 5. Go back to the gym and do that day in and day out for a long time. And, I'd train during the daytimes. I'd squeeze in a client at the gym and do some stuff like that. It was pretty, I had one client. I remember my first client. I was like, wow, personal trainer.
How'd you find them? You just saw it at the gym and they came up to you you're a big dude?
Yeah, well, it was funny because back then I was 195 pounds. I just did a lot of martial arts and training, so I was always training. I just get bored with stuff, so I'll do something. My sensei used to say, he goes, most people get a different haircut or they would change the way they dress. They want to change their style. He goes, you gain 50 pounds, you lose 50 pounds. He goes, whatever, So I went in 9 weeks. I was gonna turn pro in boxing some years before that, and I went from 215 pounds all the way down to 162 in 9 weeks.
Really?
Oh yeah, I just stopped eating
crazy.
protein, and I was just eating. Here's my diet. I don't know whatever it was, a pound bag of baby carrots, 6 bagels, and a head of cauliflower. That was my
For the day
For the
or
whole
for
day.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's good. That's pretty cool. So you just knew you had to eat that.
Well, why I did it is because I was not getting protein, so I'd have enough energy to get through some of the insane workouts I do. Sometimes I'd go in the gym on 2 hours of sleep and do 3 hours on the stepper full blast. They'd have to come out 2 times during the workout. Sometimes they'd mop up huge puddles. It was disgusting. My clothes would just be soaked, and I couldn't just do it normal, so I'd put on long underwear, thermal shirt underneath. I'd put a hoodie on. I'd put on sweatpants. I'd pull the hoodie up. I'd suck it in. I'd wear those filters for painting because it cuts off your hair.
Really?
You know how they had those goofy masks somebody was wearing?
Yeah.
Those elevation masks. Well, that was our version of the elevation mask back in 96.
Was everybody doing that, or were
No,
they
it's
just
I was people looked at me in the gym what the hell's wrong with that guy?
Yeah.
I remember my sensei asked me one night, he goes, what? He goes, wait, let me get this straight. You slept 2 hours last night and you did 3 hours of cardio? He goes, you're doing more cardio than you slept. He goes, there's something wrong with you, man. But it was funny because I'm a light switch on off. There's no
nothing in between.
right. So once I got into training and I started, like I was telling you, I got I got more than enough clients. So I got mad at the owner of Powerhouse, and my sensei knew him really well, and he just goes, the problem is, Dave's gonna quit, and Joe goes, you know why he's quitting? He goes, because when he's smarter than everybody, including you in this place, he's gonna get really frustrated when you try to screw around with him. He goes, why not just pay him his commissions? Because what it was, I sold 55 full year memberships in the month at 6 to 2. That's not a very hot time to sell memberships. The 2 to 9, those people, 2 to 10, those people sold a ton because that's when most of the people come in. So me selling the most memberships at 6 in the morning on that shift. So I get a base salary, and then I would get like $55 for every membership that was like full.
Yeah.
So I sold around. I got $39 each membership, and I sold 55. So do the math. I should have got like
pretty hefty amount. Yeah.
2,500, $3,000.
Yeah.
Guess what I got? No, 2,200. Guess what I got? Like 1,500, and then he like. What he would do is, because we had to cover the club nut, so he would start to run his wife's Jaguar payment, his car payment,
That's funny. Yeah.
home bills. I'm like, dude, these aren't part of the club.
Yeah. Get there.
He's like, well, they are now.
You gotta look the part.
Right, so then at the end it was like I was just getting tired of getting my money yanked. I'm like, I made $2,200, and you guys paid me another. So I made almost $4,000 for being a powerhouse gym manager at 62. I was like doing all right there. But then I bounced, I'd make like $600-700 a week cash, right? So between the two places, I was making about $75,000-80,000. But I wasn't really thinking about the 80 hours I was working.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty sick in like in '96.
Right, and so and then once.
But that's a lot of hours. Yeah.
My when I got to a certain point, my girlfriend at the time was like, "You need to just cut the safety net loose for the bouncing." So I was like, "Okay, well." It was really hard for me. I was like scared. What happens if all the people quit? Like in one, it was just a reality.
Fitness, yeah,
it's a reality that happens sometimes. But I'll tell you. So, anyways, I quit that, and then I just got busier and busier and busier and busier. And it's like pretty soon I got to the point where I got a phone phobia. I wouldn't even answer a phone.
Really?
I wouldn't even
That's
look
hilarious.
at it because it's just gonna be like 10 voicemails. The 10 people wanting to train, I go. There's only one of me.
Yeah.
You ever see that?
Who were they calling? Because did you have a cell phone at that point?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, back we started with the beepers.
Okay.
Going to the payphone, like drug dealers. But yeah, it was like wild, and I was like, well, this is going. People are like, you can't make money in this business. I'm like, well, I'm making north of 100,000 pretty fast and pretty easy. And what I'll give myself credit for. I had clients. I have one right now that's been with me 18 years.
Really?
3 times a week.
That's badass.
Yeah. And I had other ones, 8-10 years, and people go, they look at the people and they go, well, why would you pay me to train you that long? And they were like, these are part of our family now,
Yeah.
And what you have to do to be effective in those types of jobs so you don't have turnover is to actually ingratiate the clients to you. I have really high retention at our company right now, and it's because I engage with my clients. And I make sure they're happy, and they're so pleased that the service is good. Which I couldn't sell it if it wasn't. It'd be like you when you're selling cable. So if it's crappy service, you're not gonna. Yeah, I really need the commission, but. Yeah, get that package. He goes, then you're being honest. You're like, that thing's a turd. You're going to be pissed off. It's the streaming goes down, or this happens, or that happens. So, I try to be honest with people, but I just said, you just tell them what you're going to do for them with the training. I'm going to get your results. And then you create plans. But, I always joke around. I go, I'm like a map maker. I'm not because you've been around me. I'm not a slave driver. I don't scream at people.
Yeah.
I try to encourage people to find strength within to push through things. Because I think if you're extrinsically motivated, you're gonna fail at some point. Because there's not gonna be someone cracking the whip.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So
where did you learn this? So you were working at the gym, you were in karate, you were in all this stuff, you started competing. So obviously you learned your body, you learned what works for you, you cut out your protein and stuff. How'd you learn everything what works for all the other bodies? What were you reading a lot of magazines, encyclopedias, and all that stuff? How'd you learn everything you know?
Well, part of it was back when I was a kid, when I first started lifting, I didn't really lift because of boxing. I was always trying to keep my weight down. So I was fighting at 56 and 65 in the amateurs in high school. And then I would go to football season. I'd go up to 175 and then I'd lose weight back down. And it got to the point where, when I cut weight, I had no idea what I was doing in boxing. I would just starve some days. I didn't eat for 3 days. I didn't drink fluids. I'd go in saunas, trying to squeeze every ounce of water. Yeah, make weight.
Yeah.
And but I got really, I guess, like adjusted to not eating food, right? So I learned in that, like, what this isn't good because you don't starve yourself to lose weight. But I didn't know any other way.
Yeah.
Well, then I started lifting weights with some of the guys up at Gold's Gym in Troy at the time, and my buddy's brother Steve DeCrube was this big guy, and another guy Dave Popko. They were both big, strong dudes. You know, I found out later why they were big and strong, but at the time, I just like looked at him like, I mean, the guy's arms are bigger than my legs, you know, and I'm going, that's crazy. So, you know, they kind of took me under their wing, and I learned a lot about practicality in the gym and some bro science, nutrition stuff. But I had already been to college. You know, when I went to college, I had biology. Like one of my programs is exercise science. My other major was in applied biology, which is like a pre-med. So I learned a lot about physiology and, you know, took some nutrition classes. But back then it was real rudimentary. So along the way, probably, I would say the more important part of my knowledge has been what I've learned from others and, you know, books I've read, seminars I've been to, versus practical education.
Yeah. Well, you had a backbone of that though, which is cool.
Yeah. So I understand the science.
Yeah.
Some people you're like, they go, what?
Yeah. No, so when you were selling all these gym memberships, so you were selling it I feel like the 80s and 90s, that was like the big like fitness. Everybody wanted to own a gym, and like that's when did Fitness USA take off? And Bailey's was one of the first ones, right? Bailey's and Gold's and
there was well in Detroit, I think at the time, like way back in the day, there was Vic Tanny's.
Oh yeah, okay. That
before it became Bailey's,
yeah.
It was Vic Tanny's, and there was another gym that was called oh my goodness, what's the name of that place? It went from the Silhouette American.
Silhouette
there was one
American.
I think there was two of them. There was one on Woodward and Royal Oak. I think there's like a Pet Supplies Plus down there, but it's like around 12 Mile. And then over on there was another Silhouette over on like Telegraph, I think. My mom worked at it long time. Yeah, it's one of her first jobs when she moved to the United States, and so she knew the people that were like the top sales producers because they used to. The whole thing was like selling memberships, like how you sold cable TV.
Yeah,
you just
selling memberships.
I remember the one guy that was here's your buddy passes, bring a buddy. I'm like, buddy, what is it? I'm like, whoa, you know. But that became Fitness USA, and I think that has William Hubner that owned it, California, sold to somebody. I don't know who. They shut them all down. You don't see any more of them, but
yeah, they were running 3-year memberships and stuff.
Yeah, you'd have to get into a contract. So you do like, there was like, I want to say one of them was like $28 a month, a certain amount of money down. And then the other one was, I want to say it was more expensive because then you could go to the other clubs. So it was like $39 a month, and you could go. It was like $750 for like 2 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But you could go to the one on Woodward and go. And then the opposite days you could go to the one on.
Well, you had to because they had girls and men's days. They were separate.
Yeah, and I think 8 Mile had a men's and a women's area.
Okay.
8 Mile, Fenco and 8, which is like not the best place to go train.
So that's great. So you left there, and you stopped selling memberships because you were selling memberships for the gym, and then you just went full training mode.
Yeah. So with the training, like, I just found it like really easy to. I don't know. I liked it. I was in.
You connect, and you're connecting with people, and you're changing who they are.
I think at first I didn't have the maturity to understand that. You know?
Yeah, it takes a lot.
Yeah, I think I couldn't see past the tip of my own nose much. Before. I was pretty self-involved, and then you get into physique sports, and it's like you're really self-involved.
Yeah,
it's like all you think about is you and the shit you got to do that day. And
well, you stopped competing though, so you weren't that crazy.
Well, no, I started in '96.
Oh, you started in '96. Oh, I thought that was the last show you did was in '96.
So I did a bunch of shows between '87 and '90.
Okay.
And then I quit.
Okay.
I was like big in '90. I was like 23 years old. I was like 273 pounds. I think was my heaviest.
273. 23. At 23 years old.
And then I was
big dude.
Yeah, and by the time I was 27, I was down to 162, and I was going to turn pro in boxing.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah, people were like,
Yeah,
I
who
can't
is
believe
this
what you
guy?
just did with your body. You know what I mean? It's like you were monstrous, and then now you're like skinny. Like I remember my one buddy, because that's when HIV came. I was like, "You got the HIV?" I go, "What?" He goes, "AIDS." I go, "No, I don't have AIDS."
Oh,
Were you in jail? No, because I haven't seen you in a while. You're really skinny. Like they thought I was like, dude, that's just crazy. You didn't say that. But anyways, yeah. So
that's awesome.
at that era, that when I started the training, and I was training in Madison Heights Powerhouse, and then it was weird because trainers have to pay. Like you go to gyms, you have to pay either a portion of like the session, or you have a contract with the gym. You pay them $250 a month. You pay them a certain percentage of the sessions. I never paid at any gym I was ever in.
Really? Because the people get a membership.
But they were getting people. I remember when we had Lakeside Powerhouse, I had people driving from Marlette and Lapeer.
Really?
Marlette's,
Yeah, it's out there.
it's about
Yeah.
40 minutes north of me.
Yeah.
It takes me so they were driving an hour,
To train with you.
and they were bringing their kids. So the two kids would come and train with me, and then they would go an hour home. So think that's a 3-hour plus excursion for a family, for a mother, for a father.
Yeah.
3 days a week to train with me, and everybody goes, dude, what's so special about you? There's 50 gyms in between you and that guy. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I guess they
That's
like it.
yeah.
They like what I do. I don't know. Maybe from a practical standpoint, it's stupid, but I think I had people coming from up here and all.
Well, that's like impressive because you didn't have social media and stuff back then to spread that. So like people were literally finding you by word of mouth. So you really were doing something. You were helping these people like drastically for your name to spread that far out.
Yeah, it was like wild. Like back then, like when I was more like, I think I was like self-assured would be a good word. I was pretty cocky, and I was like, and I don't think I would have been wrong to say it, but I was probably one of the top trainers in like, for sure in like Southeast Michigan, but like in the state, like I just knew I knew more than a lot of people. I got crazy results, so people were like, no matter what I was doing in football, because I understand I get shit football, boxing, or teaching people. Some people would hire me to do boxing training with them, but weird, just different stuff. And it kept me in the game because I wasn't like, I'm not just a bodybuilding trainer. I'm not just a football trainer. I'm not a hockey trainer. I trained all those people in between.
Did you train them like all differently? Like so, football is like explosion and stuff. So like you were training all these people like sports specific. Because I remember when I first met you, that's when you had your own gym. You had Ideal Image.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's when I first met you over there. I remember me and my buddy Adam. We walked in and we were like, "Holy shit! This place is super cool." And that's you were like, it was like a gym, but it was also like a one-on-one.
Yeah.
It's like studio type thing. Like you were training a lot of different people out of there.
Well, I think that at the time, like, I waffled back and forth at the time between just building a training facility where I put turf grass in. Like that was a 4,200 square foot footprint, but the right side of the building went like 128 feet or something. So you could literally, if you wanted to run face first into a brick wall, you could have probably ran a 40 in there.
Really?
But for speed training, I mean, you only need like 15, 20 yards. Like it's a small space game. People like worry about stuff like that, but I'm like, get better in here, and then you can worry about there, because if you don't get it good in here, you don't get there, right? So I try to explain that, but I think with the way I did things, I just kind of like always had the idea that the money was in the training. It wasn't in the gym. And people would think it's the gym, but it's like, you can do simple math, and it's like if you just say you had like our Powerhouse gym was $40,000 a month to keep the lights on. So how many $399 a year memberships do I have to sell? I have to sell 100 memberships a month full, and that you're not selling 100 cash $400 memberships a month. Maybe you get like 2,000 clients, and if you have like say 40 a month, you can do the math. You might get up to $800,000 of income coming in the door. But then when you think like, okay, I got 840 here, and then I pay, 480,000, and so now I'm at 260. oh, I got to pay taxes. So, you know, you might work your ass off in a successful gym and walk out there with 150,000 with a lot of sleepless nights and stress because in the summer months you're starving to death.
Yeah.
In the winter months you're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're making money between October and like February, and the rest of the year you're starving. Like if you don't have enough saved for a rainy day, you're gonna be screwed. So
Pretty cool you can do all that math. Like, that obviously helped you be successful in all the stuff even now.
yeah,
Like, that's to be able to think on command like that. I mean, and even training somebody, because you could probably be, by having that thought process, you could probably see how somebody's doing something and literally adjust it on the spot and say, hey, you know what, I don't think this is going to work for this person. And that's probably what helped you be so successful as well, because you're probably doing totally different from other trainers. Like, I'll watch trainers at the gym, and I'll literally, I watch their eyes, I watch what they do, and it drives me crazy because, like, training somebody, it's service industry times 10. Like, you have to put everything of them in front of everything that you're doing, and it's like, and if your heart's not in it, it's not just like it's not just your wallet, it's their livelihood. They're paying for you to just just be like, it is what it is.
well,
That's crazy.
well, I think that like you just kind of hit the nail on the head. It's like you open yourself up to these things, in those relationships because you're creating bonds with people. Because for you to truly be effective in getting somebody to do something, you need to be tuned into what that person's like. And if there's just sometimes like not everybody's gonna like you in life. Like it's something I came to realization when I was younger. And it's like, but that being said, like you have to be universally liked by, otherwise you're gonna get a select crowd of people.
Yeah.
There was some women that were scared to death of me when I was big. Like I remember two of them that I trained for a while. They came in, they met me, and I was getting ready for a show, so I was like freaky, lean, veins everywhere. And they walked out of the office in the morning and goes, "Oh my God, I don't know if I can train with him." It's like, so he scares me. He's so big. And so like, they ended up like finding out I'm not like, don't judge a book by its cover. It's like people tend to stereotype. I mean, I think a lot of bodybuilders like do a really good job of earning the reputation, but like there's some people out there that kind of break the mold. And I just think that something I always wanted to be is not typical. I want to be atypical. Like, I just don't want to be like everybody else. No interest.
Do you ever have that one person where you're just like, I can't train you, like you're not trainable, like you're not doing this?
Yeah, I had a lady that a long time ago, she came to me and she told me who she had trained with before. And she, like people will come in and they'll be really cocky, like not cocky, she's an overweight lady and stuff, but clearly she had other trainers that I thought had chops. Like these guys get results. Yeah. I may not agree with everything they do because I hear it through the wind. Everybody I think hears different stuff. So I'm like, okay, well I'll give you a shot. And then the lady's like, not losing weight. And when she's with me, she's getting hammered. Like she is. Yeah. I used to just be ruthless, so I would just beat these people. And I'm like, you're gonna get in shape, like. And I'd show them like 5-6 weeks later. The first day they trained, they're crippled, and 5-6 weeks later they're enduring a lot of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know, like how you did that. I'm like, that's pretty simple. But back to this lady, man. So she gosh, I wouldn't want to say her name anyway. Yeah. I just remember that she just like, I'm doing everything you're telling me to do. I'm like, and I'm just so pragmatic. I'm like, listen. It's a physiologic impossibility. You would be taking negative energy and making something out of it. Like it's not even physiologically or from a physics standpoint possible what you're explaining. And I just was like, so, she got really, I basically told her she had to go. Like, I'm just like, you're killing me right now. Like with your, attitude. And here's the problem. Like you have to separate with those people in a really good way because I had it brought up to me the other day in a business meeting. The guy said, people don't think about their reputational risk. Like risk is not just your work comp policies and your things. risk is in a business where you are the money, you are the machine, you are the cog that makes it go. You make a mistake and it's hard to come back from.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, somebody finds out you did something really inappropriate. And
Yeah.
you're done. Like, I mean, essentially, you could. I remember a trainer was like screwing around with high school girls, and he was, he played pro football, local guy.
Nope.
Married kids, and he ended up like going to jail.
Yeah.
One of his athletes, like a friend of mine, was like, "Oh, I don't think he did it." I'm like, I go, "Listen, that's like just you coming from a standpoint." I go, "There should never be any question."
Yeah, they did or not.
Oh yeah, like I mean, you're far too close to people physically, especially females. If somebody's even thinking that something's going on like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't stop people from like. I remember that I got drilled by the news. What are your thoughts about Madonna sleeping with her trainer, and she got pregnant and had her first kid, Lourdes, or whatever that girl's name is? But they called me on the phone to interview me.
Really?
Like there was, it was the Detroit News.
That's cool.
I forget which one. And they're like, "So what are your thoughts on the Madonna incident?" And I was like, "Well, there's a lot of ways I can answer this question." So this what pissed me off. This is when I first learned about how the news works. So I said, "Well, you are gonna. Not everybody trains a model, but you're gonna train some attractive people. And if you're in a similar age bracket and two people meet each other and they bond over something and they end up." I go, I guess it probably happens where people hook up, and I goes, that can happen anywhere. You could be in an accounting office, you here. And then I just said, so I guess like sometimes people do things inappropriate and they'll sleep with clients. And I said, I tend to not like to, shit where I eat more or less because it's where I make my money. I don't want to like get that all convoluted. And next thing the story comes out, trainer David Reid says that we screw all our clients. This is basically the way. I was like, oh my God. I was so infuriated. I called them, and it was on page 2A. And I called him. I said, "You got to retract it. That's not what I said." I go, "They were recording it." I go, "You better read that damn." So they put like an editorial retraction on like page 8A. But I'm forever known as the guy who said, "Hey, I would bang all our clients."
Do you have that anywhere? Like,
no, I wish I did.
Yeah.
It's insane. I just was so mad. I don't even think I wanted to see the article.
Well, that's the reputational thing you were just talking about. Yeah.
Well, and you don't think about certain things, and it's like I had two.
You probably had some more clients coming. You had that too, like.
Well, I had two when I was two women when I was young. When I was like single, they hired me. They told me like later specifically because like they wanted to be around me. Like could have just said like, "We're gonna get a cup of coffee." Yeah. So you hire me to train you so you can see me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a month later. This girl had a boyfriend. We all went out. We were all having some drinks, and he got wasted. So they put him back in the house in bed, and we all walked down the street to a bar. And she goes, "We'll stop outside." And she's like telling me she loves me. I go, "You're dating my friend. You don't love me. You think you love something about me, but you definitely don't love me."
Well, that's where it's got to get confusing because so many people, like guys and girls, like so many of them have trouble separating like connections, like emotional connection, physical connection, and like so many people. Like there was a scientist. He took a lot of slack for this. He said that women should not coexist as men in laboratories for laboratory studies because it's too hard for them to work with the chemical attraction around, and he took a lot of heat for that. But it's like I mean, that's like my world. I had so much trouble separating like an actual like a friendship from a connection. So I gotta imagine so many people like when they are being trained at different levels because like you have somebody like really pushing you, and I feel like you'd be like, hey, this person is really looking out for me. And then they almost could build something like that, and it's got to be interesting. I remember I was talking to one of the trainers at Powerhouse. He started wearing a fake wedding ring for that. Then he's like, dude, I tell all my women clients I'm married, and I was laughing at him. I'm like, you shouldn't have to go that far. Like, you don't have to make up a fake you to just be like, hey, no, like this is I'm physically training you, and it sounds to me like you probably like made that clear like too, that you're physically training them to take them to a stage in themselves that they don't physically see when they look at the mirror,
Right.
which is cool. Like it's got to be interesting.
Well, it's different. I mean, it's a different world. You know what I mean? But you know, I've got to see some really cool stuff. I met a guy who became one of my really good friends. God rest his soul, he passed away. Geez, I'm trying to think, maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Anyway, he came to me. He's like 330 pounds, like 5'8". He was wide shouldered guy, but he was just wide everywhere. Right?
Yeah.
And he was going through a really nasty divorce, and it was funny because when he goes, "Listen, I'm just gonna tell you right now, I'm not gonna stop drinking. So we have to figure out a way that this works." Because you know he just wanted to drown his sorrows. So I swear to you, over like 7 months, he went from 330 down to like 208.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And in the middle of that, because he saw a text, I don't know, he got really upset because his now whatever ex-wife, you know, ex-wife widow, she like, I don't know, just the way she treated that guy. It was like, you know, she left this text and he ended up punching a fire locker. And I told him to meet me at the gym anyway because I think I broke my hand. And you know, they're real hardened steel and stuff. And he comes to the gym and I said, well, we'll just do the stepper. So I got him up on the stepper, and I looked over and I looked at his hand. I knew he had like a boxer's fracture, like bad. Like the bones are displaced, so he's gonna have to get pins. And I'm like looking, but we got through the cardio, and then I took him across the street and bought him a beer. Really unconventional shit for a man, right? But we sat and talked over a beer, and we ended up becoming like best friends over, you know, that. So I think, you know, just between the journey on the weight loss and to see him go from this down on himself, chubby guy to this, I mean, 208 at 5'8", I mean, he looked pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And a big smile on his face. I used to come in the gym, he'd always be smiling. He'd have sunglasses on. I'm like, I'd yell across the gym, "What's up, Hollywood?" Like, kept screaming out just because, like, I wanted him to feel good about himself, you know? And it's like, because he went through hell, and then he didn't, you know, you create that great thing in people, and then it's like, you know, and some people, like, he moved out kind of north of me, and was drinking all the time, going to Greasy Spoons, but all the way back on then some, and then had, you know, he had apnea. There's one day, he went into town at this place and had a heart attack in a store in between, you know, because it's kind of remote, getting to Port Huron, he didn't make it. Yeah. So it was like one of those things where, you know, that was like you go from the valley to the mountaintop with somebody, and it's like cool to see, you know, it's cool to be part of that process.
Yeah. Probably through your time, it helped so many people. So what's your biggest, do you have like somebody that's like your biggest, well, there's every one of them is probably a monster success story, really, because you've totally, I mean, you changed so many people's like whole outlook. Like when you get physically in shape, a lot of mentally comes with it. So they're becoming physically and mentally just by working with you, which is like a side effect of being fit, you know, so that's got to be exciting. But again, everybody has their own mental stuff that they deal with. But like, what, like level wise, you've trained a bunch of, you've trained everybody. You've trained literally everybody. I remember going into the Ideal Image, and you had a lot of professional athletes. Like you've trained the gambit of people. Like, yeah.
Well, I get bored, so I want to change my direction, right? So I'm, you know, if you really want to make money and train housewives, like rich housewives. It's like the great demographic because they love you.
Yeah.
You know, I was like the 30-year-old kid around the house, and her husband's like, they're 50, and you know she likes hanging out, and but you know we get really good results with them. But it was just funny because I'm not stupid. Like I know, like some people are like, well, you know, the muscly kid, we can get him to, you know, like hang out and help me, you know, like, oh, can you help me unload the stuff out of the car? And like always conveniently just got back from Costco and they got home. But yeah, it was like, I mean, there was some cool stuff there, but like I think probably the single coolest thing that ever I think I got was a kid Ernie went to De La Salle, man. When he came to me, he had Graves' disease, which is hyperthyroidism, fast thyroid. So, imagine a kid going to De La Salle, this elite prep school, and then you got like this awkward kid who's 6'3", 120 pounds.
Yeah. That's...
And I mean, he's like a toothpick, and he'd wear these high knee socks with like crazy neon colors. And I'm trying to think what they used to call him. Oh my goodness! Oh, they called him Squidward. He looked like Squid a little bit off of SpongeBob. So, anyways, this kid, I got him in a group with like, there's a couple collegiate female athletes I trained that were quite attractive. So I think all the boys were like on point. Well, Kate's gonna be there. I'll be there. They never missed. I liked having them girls in my group. So it was like so Ernie got to talking to these girls, and they're in college. They'd call him, text him, "Hey, what's up, Ernie?" And what that does for a kid's self-esteem.
Yeah.
He feels bad about himself, and but over that course of that year, because they adjusted, they had to do they destroy your thyroid when it's hyper, because they can't, or they just remove it because you can't slow it down with medicine. You can speed it up. So they would do that, and then you have to take thyroid medication the rest of your life, and that's why they get so skinny. Like that weight comes off of them fast. And a lot of muscle too, when it happens. But so you imagine this kid went through hell. He's in school. He has to go through all the surgery. He has all these things going on. I mean, you're 15. You're probably just hitting puberty or just post puberty. Mm-hmm. You're a hot mess, like hormonally, and then you add in all this stress, and then you got to go to an elite prep school. It's like, can't imagine what he was going through. A year later, Ernie's got like a circle of friends. They call him. They take, they all go meet up and they get coffee, or go to the movies, or do this, that, and the next thing, and or party. And I saw that part, but Ernie gained in that like just under a year, like 65 pounds. Really? So now he's 185 pounds at 6'3". He doesn't seem so out of place.
Yeah.
Well, his dad wrote me a card. His dad was an attorney, and he wrote me a card, and he gave me like a $200 Visa gift card for Christmas. And he just said, "I want to tell you that you've trained all these world-class athletes, Olympians, professionals, this and the next thing." And he goes, "But I think the greatest single work may have done in your career is with my son." He goes, "Because we kind of felt like we had lost him, me and my wife, because he was like not himself, and they were looking at this kind of happy-go-lucky, goofy kid that now he's kind of reclusive." So he came out of his shell, felt better about himself, had a circle of friends, went back to playing lacrosse, and his dad was just like, I don't, everything you did is like to help him out is like, we can't thank you enough for helping him. And I'm like, I just remember just the magnitude of that card. And I was like, wow, it's like a lot of responsibility. You don't think about it, and then all of a sudden you realize you got something like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wow.
That's really cool. Do you ever hear from Ernie anymore?
I haven't talked to him, but I was just at a wedding for a couple of my athletes, and they go, "Oh, yeah, we talked to Ernie."
That's awesome.
So, I mean, the reality is, like, you want to talk to everybody.
Yeah, but
everybody's doing their own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I got kids that are married and kids. I got other kids that are Jimmy Saros, one of my clients. Jimmy's got like 2 kids and married.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, you got all these people.
Big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got it's just like it's so cool to see, because like at some point in their life you got to be this influence. In the direction. Honestly, that's probably the thing I take the most away from that whole career is how much these kids remember those life lesson conversations. Like, let me read you something. I was reading this to a friend yesterday. It's one of my football players. He's a college football coach now at Youngstown State, and he was a quarterback at Warren De La Salle. And so he wrote me a LinkedIn, like a recommendation type thing. So this is what he said, which kind of like this is why I did what I did all that time. I started working with Dave my sophomore year in high school and continued throughout my college career. I would recommend Dave in the highest regard for his ability to train and develop clients' character and knowledge and work ethic. He pushed me and helped me reach levels mentally and physically I didn't know I was capable of. To put it simply, he helped me play above my God-given ability. He understands what makes his clients tick to help motivate them in a positive way, and that is done through the great relationships he develops with his clients. I consider Dave a great friend and one that I would recommend to anybody. Thanks for all that you've done for me, Dave. And it was like that kind of stuff. Like, that's one of my kids that I love that kid. Like, he's like one of those kids who I'd say we're gonna run 340s and he'd be running like 13, trying to beat the time he got on the first one, because I'd have to stop him because he was just like relentless, just wanted to be great.
Yeah.
More than, I mean, if Josh wasn't 5'8", he would have played like at Michigan or Michigan State. Great arm. He had all the ability. And smart kid. Driven beyond belief, and just not the prototypical size. So you're done. I mean, it's like you can't do anything about it. But that kind of stuff means more to me than 100,000 in the bank.
Yeah, that's
cool.
cool.
You can't put a price tag on it.
No. So you got that, and then meanwhile, when you trained me, I was eating cheese behind your back.
I know. I knew who I was dealing with. I mean, but the thing is, sometimes with compliance, it's like, okay, so could you have been better? Sure, but I don't think I was
ready to be better. Like, I wasn't mentally ready to be better.
No, I get it. You had a level of how much commitment you're gonna give, and I mean,
you pushed me past what I ever thought. Like, I didn't think I was ever gonna get on when I signed up with you. I wanted on that stage beyond belief, but I didn't think I was ever gonna make it. And it was like I think it was like 3 weeks before you. No, it had to have been longer, because 2 weeks before was when I went on my houseboat trip. Yeah. And you're like, just go have fun. And I'm like, yeah. And you're like, just go have fun. You're like, and you even told me I could drink. Like, and I did. I did. And I drank. Yeah. And then I ate. You told me I could have one box of kudos bars. And I ate the whole box in one night. Yeah, I ate the whole box in one night. I drank a fifth of vodka, and I ate a box of 12 kudos bars in one night.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I felt so bad. I'm like, damn it, Dave. But I looked badass the next day.
Hey, you're probably all the alcohol dried you out.
Yeah. I think that was like the best I looked the whole time. I was like, yeah, I was so cocky that next day.
Oh, you're funny, man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's really cool. But yeah, I was so funny. I was cracking up, because now the amount of cheese, I always go back to this. When you told me about cheese, because I was eating cheese. I was eating cheese on all my eggs, and you're like, I'm like, Dave, I'm following the diet exactly. And you're like, what are you doing? What's your meal? And I'm like, I wake up, I do six whites, 2 full eggs, a pinch of cheese. You're like, cheese? That's how you can have cheese? Like, what do you mean I can't have cheese? I can't have cheese? Like, I didn't say dairy. That's how you can eat dairy. I'm like, no cheese? At that point, I was like, fuck Dave. And Dave just can't have cheese? I'm like, what is it? But when I eliminated cheese, my whole body changed. It was crazy. My whole body changed once I eliminated cheese. It blew my mind.
Who knew? Yeah. Who knew?
Who knew?
I just like, that's hilarious, because like, I'm like, well, there's challenging people,
Yeah.
Like, I have one client, I've had him for 18 years. He happens to be the owner of my company. You know what a scatter plot is in statistics? Yeah. So a scatter plot's like a shotgun blast, right? And all the data center proliferates are online, but you'll see the occasional pellet out here. That's him. I go, that's you. He goes, well, somebody has to keep you honest. It's like, I was telling the story, we had a bet, because like 5 years ago, he's like, I'm going to have abs. You're going to take your stubby Scottish fingers, you be rubbing oil on my abs in the gym while you're telling everybody how great my abs are. And I go, what are we betting? And he's like, I said, surf and turf dinner? So he's like, yeah. And I go, I'll take the bet. And he goes, what? I go, listen, they'll find Hoffa before you find a set of abs. Period. And I go, number 2, I go, if by chance lightning struck and you actually got your fat ass in shape, I said, Elbrey, I'm the greatest trainer on earth. I go, I can't lose if you get abs, but you won't. Jimmy Hoffa's body will turn up before your abs turn up. So I was like, whatever, man.
So you got abs?
No. Big old gelatinous.
What would it take for me to have abs again?
I could get you down there and give me 24 weeks.
How many weeks is 24 weeks?
Almost half the year, 26.
Yeah. It's okay, because I went to this wedding the other day and I was sweating my ass off and I couldn't get low. I normally could always get low. And when, you know what was happening when I was getting low? My belly was giving pressure on my fanny pack. And I'm just like, damn, babe. Yeah. Yeah,
I would say the fanny pack at the wedding.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's the fanny packs everywhere, man. Yeah, I don't think I live with that. It's so nice, everything's there. I don't like giving stuff in my pockets.
I used to when I was training back in the 90s. Yep, fanny packs. That was the stuff. I put my cash and just spin it around back.
Yeah, you move it around, spin it back. It's never in the way.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie and say I didn't have one.
Yeah, it's nice. You probably bring one back. You'll always have pens.
Are these like those Velcro wallets? Fanny packs kind of like it's in vogue again. I'm like, it's like bell bottoms. Eventually, it'll come around.
Oh yeah.
There's been some fruity stuff. I've been seeing some dudes in booty shorts in the gym lately.
It's weird. Yeah.
What's up with that? Does your sister know you have her Lulus on?
Yeah, it's weird. We're living in a weird world. Like it's
backwards.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy now. Like you can have hormones now if you're transitioning, but if you want to get big, you can't have them. Like it's funny. So I'm on testosterone now from my doctor. So my show. My show is in September 28th of 2014. And it's so crazy. You should see all my blood tests. So my first blood test, and I think it was November 2017, or November 2015, I was 74. So a year later, my testosterone was at 74. So the right before the show.
Look at eunuch.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. So in 15, they started treating me with Clomid, and they would go up. It would go up and down. I was losing my shit. I'm like, what are they doing? They put me on for a month, take me off, and it was going up and down, up and down. I was losing my shit, and I'm like, what the hell? And then I didn't take anything, and then I think now it was, what are we, 2022? I think in like 2020, I have a thing. It was like 174. So now I've been on now for like probably almost a year, or I'd say, and they got me up to like a 322 as my last test, and that was with taking testosterone every week. So they had me on every week on 200 milligrams, and now they got me where I get to take it home and do it. So now I'm on every other week. They want to see how this goes, because I was going to the nurse, and now I'm telling you, Dave, at home I can't do it. So when I wanted to get big, all that was in my mind is I just want to get big. And now all I want in life is to be healthy. Like literally all I want is to work out and be healthy and like take my body to a level that I believe I could take it with my own mind. And I have a mental block now, because I'm just like, I don't want to put this in me, but now I need to, because I broke my body. But I'm just sitting here and I'm like, all these people, like if you could be a lady transitioning to a man, or a man transitioning to a woman, and take all the suppression, all this stuff, and mess you up. And I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, it's mentally broken in my mind. And like when I did it the other day, I stuck the needle in my leg 3 times before I was able to push it in, because I'm just like, what is underneath my skin? I don't know what's under there. I'm not a doctor. I'm like, what am I pushing this into? And mentally, and Jamie was making fun of me, because back in my previous life, when I was taking all this stuff, she's like, oh, don't touch that. And now she's like, want me to come in and push it in you? And I'm just like, yeah, I can't do it. Wow. But it's messed up. So like now, so I'm dealing with like I don't even like that's pretty low. Like in the three. I'm probably back in the twos now because that was when I was on every week, and now they have me other week every other, and I'm supposed to go back in a few weeks and have it tested again. But so like dealing like so that and then trying to figure out like, dude, it's working out is crazy because after all the years when you work out, you start like ego lifting, like all the stuff it goes away. Like you end up lifting for or like just to move the weight. Now, I did anyway. My whole movement's changed, and once you start getting pains and stuff, then you start adjusting, and you if you don't know how to adjust, if you don't know if physically because you're not doing the movements right, then you end up, what are you even doing? Are you doing more bad than good? Are you putting more weight on your rotator cuff? Are you putting more weight on your elbows? Like, what are you physically doing? So it's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think like everybody's gonna go through an evolution. So you're gonna start out and you're kind of awkward with it. You don't really know how to do it. Then you catch that groove, and then you become kind of neurologically efficient at moving. So then you put on the size, right? And so that's when you probably, most of us kind of get addicted to it.
Yeah.
Thing. Well, then it's like, so you get treated different. People see you differently. You're a little bit bigger. You're a little more imposing. And so people, guys and women, kind of treat you a little different. There's like a breaking point with the size thing. Like guys will go, bro, you look great. Women will be like, you're too big. It's like, so I think there's a healthy, it's a barometer that I think each sex looks at a little differently, like what looks good, right? But I think you have to go through that evolution where now all you're trying to do is lift the heaviest thing you can pick up.
Yeah.
I mean, because you just want to, but I think that mental part of it too, as well as the muscular part, if you don't kill yourself or rip something up in the interim, you just become, stronger overall. And it's like, I think that kind of foundation is what a lot of people miss because they get into like the pump bodybuilding and do machines and they never quite put on that muscle. But I just think like you have to, I don't know, temper things. You got to think about it now as you get older because your joints aren't as resilient. So you got to kind of evolve. You got to go through the awkward, crappy. Hey, I'm good at this. And I put on strength and I get bigger, so I'm committed to it now. And then, you get in, now you're getting strong. So now you're pushing all this crazy weight because, not only are you trying to impress yourself, you're trying to impress your buddies and whoever else
You
might
didn't
be
have to
watching.
impress yourself. Like, what if you just knew yourself and you just knew you were going to change your body and you didn't have, is that like a natural thing to impress yourself?
I think what it becomes is like, at least I can speak for myself. Like when I first started, I went through a phase where, you start to put on muscle and you kind of get cocky. Like you get like, look at me, and then I think you get to a certain point after that where all that ego goes away.
Yeah.
You don't really want to be known for it, but you are. It's like you're just that big muscular guy, and it comes with some responsibilities and baggage, I guess you might say too.
Yeah.
Cool. You get a lot of attention or something like that. Most of it's not good, or half of it's not good anyway. So.
Yeah.
Some people are like of the belief that publicity is good publicity. So.
Yeah. So you said you get me there in half a year. Mm-hmm. What if I want to go to a wedding at the last week in August and wear a Speedo?
In the fanny pack?
Yep. Speedo and fanny pack.
Well, it just depends on what level you're going to tell me you're going to commit to the process. You said 100%. I'm like, well, I'll make you look. I may not have you looking perfect by August, but I could have you looking a hell of a lot different.
Yeah, like no, I want to get weird. I want to push my body on like I've ever pushed my body, and I feel as if I have the time and I have the mental capacity now to mess with my body I've never connected my mind to my muscles. I just always moved weight. Like I just did like literally I would. I don't even know what a pump is anymore. As crazy as it may sound, I don't even know what that is. Like I told you, I don't know what stress is. I don't like. There's so many things that I don't even know. Like I'm like, is this just a pain? Is this just pain, or is this real? Like, it's weird as weird as it is. Like, I wanna get behind a sled. I said I'd even push a sled for you. I want to run a sled. I want to do like real functional training stuff that I never looked at, but I want to utilize my body how it was made to be utilized. Like, you go back to the caveman days, like, they lived. They went out. They foraged for food and they slept. Like, they exercised. I want to take that body and physically use it how it should be used for longevity and for like movement. Like, I don't want to have that sleep apnea. I don't want to sit and worry about like death. Like, when I said I don't have stress, like, literally the only stress I have is my dog outliving me. Like, I tell my dog all the time, I'm like, I did this. Like, you need exercise. You need that. Me too. And I'm like, I'm going to extend your life. And by doing so, it's going to extend mine. But you better not outlive me. Like, my ass better outlive you. I want her to live as long as she possibly can now. But I'm like, so I just now, like, I really want to take the body and push it to like a level that I've never done it before. And I want to do it through my mind. Like, let's go. Let's go, Dave. What are we doing?
Well, I know how your brain works, and I mean, it's really actually insightful, the things you're saying, because like most people, I don't know what I want to say, like they're not at all. They never look lower than skin deep inside themselves. Like, there's a lot of hard questions. Like, I'm reading a book and I did like this personal inventory about myself and what are my strengths and weaknesses and stuff like that. It's a little bit of an eye opener.
Yeah.
But I think you've done that like deep dive into yourself, and now it's like you come to realize like time is kind of abstract. It's an abstract concept, and it's like.
But it's weird. It's real at the same time, unfortunately, which is crazy.
Well, yeah, there's like weird. I mean, if you look in the Bible, like more biblical studies, I guess, in theology things, they talk about like chronos, which is like linear time. So from the time you born till the time you die is a certain distance, right?
Okay.
But everything in between, wherever you have a change of direction, that's like a kairos moment. So that's an internal. Something happened to alter your course. So if you're going this way, something hits you, and then you go that way. Till something hits you, and then you go that way. But let's just say the energy in that ball is only the energy in that ball, and when it hits the end of the line and stops moving, that's like death, right? So it starts moving, that's life, death.
Yeah.
So no matter how many angles it changes, perhaps you could say the more times it changes direction, the less speed it has or something. But this will blow your mind. I was reading something, and I was like thinking about it. And I've always kind of thought in the back of my mind, I don't have a super fast metabolism. I have a good enough metabolism. Like, I have to work at it though. And some people would look at a fast metabolism and go, the fast metabolism is like the best thing in the world, right?
Yeah.
Not for the longevity side. If you look at animals that die, if they have fast metabolic rates, think of an animal like a tortoise that lives 100 plus years, and they move like this fast because they're just not in a hurry to go anywhere. But that's because of slow metabolism. So the thing is with people, when you have a slower metabolism, you need to eat less, right? Like, I think, well, that person's eating that. Well, that person burns that. You don't burn that. So why would you eat that? The most efficient thing to be is like the optimum weight, not above it or below it.
Yeah.
Like too skinny or too fat. Neither one of them are great physiologic places. I mean, I'm not talking about being stupid lean either, because that's not healthy. But,
Yeah.
I mean, but you can do whatever you want with your body if you're.
Yeah.
I did a 40-day fast. I thought I was out of my gourd.
40 days.
Yeah, just fluids.
Really?
Yeah, I lost like 37 pounds. I was like pretty skinny.
Yeah.
I was like, that's way too much. But it's biblical.
Okay.
My buddy's like, 40 days. I go, listen, Jesus did it. Moses did it. He goes, well, you're not Jesus or Moses. Now are you? And I'm like, we're going to find out.
Yeah, he said, prove it.
I might come to see Jesus in this process, but I was like, just kind of laughing about it. You thought I was right out of my mind.
Yeah. Do you know that guy? Jesus?
Yeah. He's my Lord, so
Really?
I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm trying to get to know. I'm trying to get to know him. I think it would be really fun to hang out with the guy.
I think you'll definitely put a smile on his face.
Yeah, it's funny. I've learned he has a really intense sense of humor. Like I've come to put myself in some really interesting situations with people, and I've learned a lot about him over the past few weeks and a few months. And it's really funny to kind of get to hear different stuff about him, and then
Right.
and then I've been reading the King James, the New Testament, which is a very hard read. Man, those words are intense.
We need to get like the NLT.
Yeah.
Because there's like you're crossing back and forth in like Old English versus modern English.
Yeah, it's tough.
So it's different. Like thou'st.
Yeah.
Shall or
verily
I tell you, or
it's weird.
every time he says that, like where Jesus is speaking.
Yeah. So I haven't even got to where he speaks yet.
Well, no, but the cool thing is like in there is like when he talks, if he really wants to impress a point on you, it's like verily I tell you, or he always puts like emphasis on that part by saying that like you can trust this. This is the truth. And you really need to listen to this point.
Yeah.
The thing that blows my mind, to be honest, like I'm glad that you're kind of on a journey of discovery, is that.
All right, we're gonna stop it right here. We're gonna stop it, and we're gonna stop it because my dog really needs to go for a walk. And I really need to take her on that. I got to put my health and her health first right now. No, but also truly, we're going into the next stage of this. I'm real happy that you made it here. And if you're excited about this journey that we're taking together, that I'm forcing Dave to take. No, I think he's excited about it. I'm really excited about it, truly. Really, really excited. But yeah, if you want to know what is going to blow Dave's mind, you're going to have to come up. You're going to have to come on. You're going to have to follow. You're going to have to hit that subscribe. You're going to have to get notified for the next part. And then you could follow the journey as well. You could follow the gym. The gym's pretty interesting. What we're doing there is, I'm learning. I haven't been in this world in quite some time. And I'm getting back into it. And the cool... ADD took me there. ADD took me. It's okay, though. This is Fanny Pack's ADD playground, so it's all right. But now it's interesting when you haven't been in the gym for so long, right? And you're coming back in a different stage, right? Like aches and pains. We're not 20, we're not 18, we're not even 30. no, but truly 30, man, I was already hurting at 30. But the craziest thing is by treating your body right, it doesn't really matter what age you are. Like, we're getting this. We're linking our mind with our body to strengthen this heart, right? Oh man, it's cool. And throughout this entire process, on be teachable and shareable. Teachable and shareable. That's it. That's all you need in life. Be teachable and shareable. Yeah. Come on back now so you can hear this.
The thing that blows my mind, to be honest,
I really want to know. Do you want to know?
Is that?
Do you want to know? Do you want to know what blows Dave Reid's mind? It goes, right? If you want to know, you're going to have to come on back. All right. I'll see you now. I'm out of here. Bye. Thanks for watching. Hit that follow, hit that subscribe, and get notified. Because it's fun. And part 2 of this video is all about what blows Dave's mind. No, and God, man. We're linking God into it. We're talking about a lot. We're digging deep. We're digging real deep over the next hour. Come on back. All right? See ya.